Alright folks, I got my wife's 2008 Ford Edge here. This thing has got a kind of a soft brake pedal, and I think it needs to have some work on the brakes before I buy all the hardware to replace the pads and rotors. I am going to bleed the brake system because it's a 2008, so 2018 now, about 10 years. I don't think its brake lines have ever been bled, so I'm going to try bleeding those first. Let's see how that goes. These Ford Edges are a pain in the butt to get up in the air with just regular floor jacks and jack stands, so I got it up in the air, forgot to loosen the lug nuts, so I'm going to have to use impact wrench for this. Okay, here I am back at the rear passenger side getting ready to get started. I've got my bleeder, one-person bleeder setup going on here with the bottle with the tube going into it, brake fluid in it already, and I've got this tubing going uphill a little bit, and I've got this hooked on there. It is a 10mm bleeder screw on the rear. It is not a 10mm on the front. The front is a, let's see if I can get up to the front here. This one is a 5/16, and both of my front covers are just trashed. But yeah, so that's what you got to deal with there. Now, back up here, up front here. Let's go over here. This guy, I have never had a car that had this setup before. Let's see if I can get it out. There we go. Master cylinder is buried down there. You can't even get a good shot in here. So I'm going to just clean up around this, and I'm going to have to run some type of angled funnel into there because you can't pour directly down into it. I've never had a master cylinder you can't do that with before. But this is a crossover vehicle, so I guess they got to have everything's tucked in. So let me find something to work with that. Alright, I am in there. I got it cleaned up. Let's see if this will work here. What I've got is this crazy thing right here. I think I see why my the brake pedal is kind of weak. I don't see anything in here. Here's the max lines right there. You can't really see this very well, but there appears to be nothing in there. So all the brake fluid, I'm sure there's brake fluid in there because the brakes are working. But in any case, the brake fluid's obviously low because it's not there. So you gotta love those dealerships. Anything to sell you a car, but they said, oh yeah, we checked it, but they didn't even fill it with, top it off with brake fluid. So I've got this angled funnel here. Let's see if that'll, hopefully this will work. Come on, camera. Alright, let's go back here. And this is a brand new bottle. It hasn't been cracked yet, so I can add lots to this and start bleeding here. So yeah, if you have a Ford Edge, you might need to get an angled funnel like this, or else be more talented than I am at how to get something in like that. So let's try this bad boy out here. Let's crack this open. Alright, the seal has been broken. Brake fluid is opened. Oh my goodness, it's not going to last. This other stuff that was in here was 10 years, so I think it'll be okay. Let's see how this... Funny is you can't even tell. Okay, it wasn't too low. It was just low from where you can see it. I can see it filling up in there now. Okay, it's up to its upper. I'm actually going to go a little bit more since I'm bleeding it. There we go. Cap back on so it doesn't collect moisture, even though it's dry as a bone out here. Colorado. All right, I'll just put this guy right there. I'm going to put the cap back on so we don't lose it. Alright, let's go start pumping those brakes. Well, I always hear people talk about the gravity bleed method where you just kind of just open it up and let gravity take it. I guess there's something to that. When I open this up, the fluid just starts to move. See if I can get that open a little bit more. And bubbles are coming up. Bubbles are coming up down in the bottle there. So there is something to that gravity bleed thing. It's actually kind of working here. Pump that a little bit. The weight of this wrench is kind of messing up my one-person method here. Might have to adjust that with something else. Alright, I got more of that gravity bleed stuff going on. There's you can see a little bit of the fluid coming out, so I'm going to keep it going. I just topped off the master cylinder. All right, we're definitely filling up with the nasty old stuff is coming out definitely here. All right, let's just keep this thing going, huh? It's still working, so let's keep it going. Alright, been pumping that a few more times and it's looking good. I'm going to take this off and close this one off. It's looking like I'm getting new stuff out. No more air bubbles coming out, which I didn't expect too many air bubbles other than what's coming in right here. But this fluid is looking like it's a lot cleaner than it was. And here's the stuff in the bottle there. It darkened up a lot. So I'm going to switch to the passenger side rear. Let's go check that one out. Okay, so now I'm on the driver's side rear. I'll try to show you how this thing, it's got these little covers on there. They're kind of hard to get off, so I had to take a little screwdriver and help pry them off. These are in much better shape, the rear ones are, than the front ones, but harder to get off as well. Taking quite a bit. And I'm glad I'm doing the brake fluid first before buying all the new hardware. Obviously, I'm going to need some new hardware. There's a lot of rust on the insides of these. These have definitely seen a lot of use. Even though the pads still have life on them and the rotors I think have life on them, but they're obviously warped because you can feel a little bit of vibration or pulsing in the brakes. So before I buy all the hardware though, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a low fluid level, and I want to take a look at this. So I'll try and clean some of the rust off of this area here. It does look like this is the 2008, so it's going to have the drum brake style parking brake inside there, which that can be a pain in the butt to deal with if it's as rusted as all this is. If it's completely rusted and corroded, it can be pretty bad too. So, but let's find out here. Let's first of all, let's get this guy hooked on here. Put this on there. There we go. Oops, almost forgot the most important part. You gotta have a 10 millimeter. There we go, 10 millimeter. There we are. I'm gonna put this around there to tighten that onto there so we don't get air in there. 10 mil on the rear and 5/16 on the front. I don't know why they would do that, but alright, let's pull that so it goes up and over. Alright. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. There we go. Alright. Got some gravity bleed going on right there. Let's just keep this side up. Be nice if I had something to hook that onto. I'm going to bring this up over the top. Put that over the top. There we go. I want that brake fluid going up. There we go. All right, looking good there. Let's start pumping that bad boy. All right, that side I could actually see it working. Looking good there. I'm going to pump that a little bit more. Just get a little bit more of that old stuff out. But looking good. I just wanted to show you guys something. This is the stuff that came out of the rear brake bleeders. Compared to the stuff that this is new stuff that I'm going to use on the front side. So 10-year-old stuff that's already mixed. This was mixed with newer stuff. So that's how dark it gets after 10 years. It's actually pretty good for 10 years. I'm glad I'm not going to try to go another 10 years on this stuff. But so I just want to show you a comparison of what you would see on the old dirty stuff compared to the new stuff over there. So hopefully this will help my wife with her brake pedal feel. I know it's not going to fix everything. I'm going to have to put new rotors and pads on there, so that will be happening next. I didn't want to buy those just yet until I get this part done because, yeah, 10 years worth. So let's see how the front look. All right, going for another turn here. Loosening up that bleeder screw. It'd be a lot easier if I had a two-person method. I don't know if anybody out there has ever tried to get their wife and kids to help them with this. Yeah, it's like pulling teeth. So it's a one-person brake job. All right, here we go. Alright, I think we're good on this side. I'm liking the way that looks. One thing I haven't been showing is how often I'm coming back here and popping this off and on the skin. Every time I do that, this thing is popped out, so I push that back in. I take this off the paper towels, back into the funnel, back into the master cylinder reservoir. I don't even know if that's just some extension to the master cylinder. And then let's get that filled up again here. So refilling that a lot so it doesn't run dry. And also if I go too far, it actually has been sucking this whole cap off of the inside there. So something to be aware of. And then I've got that brake fluid dripping on the inside there. So I'm trying to keep that from, that's why I've got the paper towels down here to catch all the brake fluid, since that stuff is so nasty, so corrosive. There we go. Alright, let's go pump her again. Okay, apparently I still suck at making and editing videos for YouTube, but in any case, I'm done with the brake bleeding on the forward edge. I also rotated the tires while the wheels were off, and it does feel, I took a little test drive. At first I had a little bit of issues. I think the anti-lock brakes took a second to get used to that new fluid or something. There was something weird about that, but they kicked in pretty well after I got it going, got it back down, and the brake pedal actually does feel better now. It does have a better brake response. It definitely didn't make up for my old warped rotors with all that rust on them, but that does feel better. So hopefully this helps you out, and I'll try to get better at doing these videos.